Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and in this video we will be exploring the Geoffrey Chaucer's timeless masterpiece, The Canterbury Tales. And in this video we will delve into the general prologue through an engaging introduction, the key points and a concise summary. So get ready for a literary journey like no other. So let us start with the introduction. So, The Canterbury Tales. It is a famous medieval literary work which was written by Geoffrey Chaucer in the late 14th century. Right? So, it consists of a collection of stories that was told by the group of pilgrims who were traveling together to the shrine of Thomas Becket in the Canterbury. So, this tale covers a wide range of category also, which includes romance, the comedy, tragedy, and the morality tales. And Chaucer work is also known for its rich characterization, social commentary, and the satirical depictions of the medieval society. And this prologue also serves as an introduction, which presents the diverse group of pilgrims, and it sets the stage for a storytelling contest that forms the narrative structure of the work. So this was the introduction of the general prologue. Now we will be moving to the key points. The general prologue. It is the introductory section of Geoffrey Chaucer's renowned work, and it sets the stage for the entire narrative, and he has provided us with a vivid description and a diverse portrait of the medieval society. So let us begin with the key points of the general prologue. The first point is that the introduction to the Canterbury Tales, and we have already covered this point. So moving on to the next, that pilgrims, they were gathered at the Tabard Inn to embark on a journey to the shrine of Thomas Becket in the Canterbury, and Chaucer himself is also one of those pilgrims who was traveling. Right. So moving on to the third point, the diverse characters from various social classes. So in this, the pilgrims includes the representative from the clergy, the nobility, the middle class, and the commoners. Right. So it was a specific order that reflects their social status and creates a sense of a clear hierarchy among those pilgrims. Right. So moving on to the next point is the satirical critique of the society and its vices. Chaucer has provided us with lots of humor and irony, and he has provided us with a commentary on their social, on their moral, and on their religious issues of that age. Right. So moving on to the next is the detailed description of each pilgrim's appearance and their personality. So Chaucer has provided us with a great detailed description about kind of their physical attributes, their clothing, and their distinct personality traits. And these descriptions reveals the personality, the pilgrims' social status, their aspirations, and their individual quirks. Right. And the sixth point, that is the estate satire, a medieval literary tradition that divides the society into three estates: the clergy, the nobility, and the commoners. And he satirizes each state by highlighting their hypocrisy and the corruption. So he divided the society into the three states, the clergy, the nobility, and the commoners. Into the nobility one, there were the characters like the knights, the squire, the yeomen, and then below nobility there were the middle class. Middle class includes the merchant, the clerk, and the franklin, and below that there were the lower classes as per miller, the reeve, and the cook. And then the clergy one. Who were the clergy one? Like the summoners, the pardoner, the prioress, the nun. And he has satirized each estate by highlighting their hypocrisy and corruptions. Moving on to the next point is the frame narrative. And in this, each pilgrim was expected to tell two stories on the way to the Canterbury and two more on the way back, which results in a collection of diverse and entertaining narrative. Right. There were 120 stories in total that were told, but Chaucer was able to complete only the 24 before his death. So moving on to the next point is the social commentary. on their societal norms and values. General prologue offers the insights into the societal conditions, values, and the norms of the Chaucer's time. And next point is the Chaucer's role as the narrator and his opinion on the pilgrim. Right. Chaucer has provided his observation and his own opinions about the pilgrims, but however his own character it remains somewhat mysterious and elusive, which leaves the readers to speculate on his intentions and perspective. So now let's get started with the summary. So the general prologue, it basically serves as an introduction to the Canterbury Tales, and it provides a description of the pilgrims that who were traveling together to the shrine of the Saint Thomas Becket in the Canterbury, right? And Chaucer presents a diverse group of characters who were being representing their various social classes and occupations, and he has provided us with a detailed description of each pilgrim. And these descriptions not only provide their physical details, but it also offers us the insights into their personalities, their moral qualities, and their social positions, right? So Chaucer being by setting the scene of the springtime season, which is associated with the new beginning of the renewal of the life. What does it mean by renewal? Mean the rebirth of life, right? So he describes the desire of the people to go on a pilgrimage during this time to seek spiritual fulfillment and the opportunity to visit the holy sites, right? And Chaucer, he has also portrayed as one of the pilgrim, which gives the narrative a personal touch and it establishes his presence as the narrator, right? So the pilgrim introduced in the general prologue includes representative from different social classes. Among them, there are member of nobilities such as the knights, and the knight is represented as a chivalrous, honorable figure who has participated in numerous battles and he is having a distinguished reputation, right? And in addition to that, he is being worthy and brave, and narrator also says that he is modest and meek as a maid, right? And he never speaks ill of anyone. And during this pilgrimage he was accompanied by his son named the Squire, who is a young and a gallant warrior who is also a talented poet. He is always courteous, humble, and the modest, right? Next character is the yeoman. Yeoman, he is the knight's attendant, mean a kind of a servant. He is dressed in a green coat and he is carrying a bow and arrows with him, right? These were the characters which were represented for the that nobility class, right? So moving on to the next, the other notable characters, they include the prioress, a nun, who is portrayed as a refined and an elegant woman who speaks French with an English accent so that she can look like a sophisticated woman, right? And she wear expensive jewelries and she love little animals. She even wears a brooch that says love conquers all. A brooch means a pin on which there is a knot that says that love conquers all, but she is more concerned with her appearance than her spiritual matters. Why this thing is being said? Because a nun should mostly be concerned about the spiritual matters instead of just concerned of their physical appearance, right? And she feeds her dog with the meat and bread, which is a violation of woe of poverty, and she even curses when she is angry. This shows a bit of her immatureness, right? Next religious character is the monk, right? He is shown as a corrupt figure. I mean, a monk, he is expected to be a person who wears simple robes and he do his reading in his cells instead of just moving around and enjoying the earthly pleasures, right? But instead of reading in his cell, the monk prefers to go on hunting, even though he is against the rules of the orders of the Saint Benedict, right? The monk also wears rich decorated clothes. rather than the simple robes, which doesn't suit the character of a monk. And next character is the Ferrar, who is a cunning and a corrupt clergyman who uses his position to gain personal advantages. And other character includes the merchant, who is a wealthy businessman and who is experienced in trading. And there is one thing about him also, that he is in debt, but he don't want other people to get it known that yeah, he is not that successful businessman in trading, right? Next character we have is the clerk, who is a serious studious scholar. And the next character is the man of law, who is knowledgeable and well spoken lawyer, right? Next is the Franklin, who is a wealthy landlord who enjoys the pleasures of life and ensures that his table is always abundant. His table is always fully equipped with the things, right? Next character we have from the working class, who are depicted, that includes the miller, the reeve, and the cook. And the miller, he is portrayed as a strong and a brownie figure who fond of drinking and telling inappropriate stories. He is a kind of a vulgar man who tells inappropriate stories and inappropriate jokes. The next character is the Reeve, who is a manager of the estate and is presented as a cunning figure, and who is in charge of a lord estate, right? And he is shown as a corrupt and a dishonest man who steals from his employers, right? And that thing is completely not correct. But yeah, he was a cunning and a very kind of corrupt man. Next we have is the cook. The cook is described as skilled, right? He is skilled in his field, but with an unfortunate physical condition, that he is suffering from an ulcer on his knees. Which basically shows a bit unhygienic thing. So, moving on to the next, other character includes the partner and the summoner and the physician and the shipman, and many more are there, but these are the important ones. So the partner, he is a religious figure who sells indulges, right, and relics, using deceitful practices for personal gain. And according to me, the partner is the worst character in this, because he sells indulges and relics, and yeah, he is always in fond of gaining money however he can. Just he puts the people fear in front of them that if you didn't do that, you will be taught, right? And he used deceitful practices for his personal gain, right? Next is the summoner. He is a church official who is responsible for summoning sinners to the church court, but he is also somehow shown as a corrupt and a morally compromised person, which is not a good thing. Then the next character is the physician, who is knowledgeable in medicine, um, who is knowledgeable in medical science, but he is also motivated by the financial gain. Yeah, he's good in the medical science, but yeah, he also wants money. He can't cure anyone for free. The next is the shipman, who is an experienced sailor who traveled widely, but he had a somehow questionable moral character, right? I mean, mm, that also is not a good thing. Next character, this character is very important. We need to learn about it, right? Because we need to write about it in our exams for sure. Then the wife of Bath, she is a vivacious and a worldly woman, and she is experienced in the matter of loves and marriages. She is having multiple husbands. Basically, she has married to the five men, and she is having many affairs, and she dresses extravagantly. She wears bright clothing and a large hat. She is a confident and outgoing woman with a gap between her front teeth. You know, this wife of Bath, she is a very important character and we need to learn about it separately, right? Next on moving to that, the Chaucer description of these characters, they often include satirical elements and moral judgments. He exposes the flaws, the hypocrisies, and the vices, reflecting the shortcoming of medieval society as a whole. And throughout, there were various pilgrims. Chaucer provide a panoramic view of human nature. These are the points we can use in our exam to jot it down. Okay. Next is that he explores the theme of social hierarchy, mean that the class difference, the nobility, the clergy, and the commoners, right? Mean there are lots of religious hypocrisy and there is individual mortality. The general prologue, it does not only set the stage for the individual tale, but it also establishes the framework and the diverse group of pilgrims brought together by their shared goals of reaching Canterbury, that allows for the exchange of the stories, the debates, and the discussions, reflecting the diversity of the medieval society. Next thing is that Chaucer intended to write a total 120 tales, but only 24 were completed before his death, and this leaves the Canterbury Tales unfinished, right? And each pilgrim was supposed to tell two tales on the way to the Canterbury and two more on the return on the trip, which leads to the 120 tales. But there was a one thing that Chaucer gives insights to everyone personalities, but somehow his own personality was mysterious. We were not knowing him that much, right? Next is the tale that the Chaucer did complete showcases that the Chaucer did complete showcases a wide range of themes and the storytelling techniques, right? They include stories of romance, the morality, humor, adventure, and social critique. And some of the most famous tales from the Canterbury includes the Knight's Tale, the Miller's Tale, the Wife of Bath's Tale, and the Pardoner's Tale. And yeah, each tale is presented in the voice and the perspective of the pilgrim telling it, adding depth and variety to the collection. So that was the total summary of the general prologue, and I hope you all liked my video. And yeah, if you want important question answers video, then you can just let me